So moved. Second. Liza. Aye.
Aye.
Dills and I. Martin. Howard.
Aye, yes, aye.
Peter
Aye.
just pulled up too.
Thank you. I'm going to open for public comments. I'm going to close for public comment, and we're going to start off with the school because we have Beth, Chip, Howard, and I think Stephanie. And if you want to take it away, feel free to.
Sure. So you should have documentation from, I believe, our last meeting that we shared information with you. I think what you're looking to have us discuss is all ed tech requests.
Yes,
Since we
exactly.
did discuss already, and we're not in a place at the moment to discuss any further information on our Vito Capizzo Stadium.
Yes.
Movement. So I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie, and she can go through each of the line items that you are that you may have questions about, and she can kind of explain where that's at.
Great. Stephanie, take it away. Thank you.
So I have a presentation, if I can share my screen.
Sure. Sue might need to help you do that.
I think I should be able to do it. Yep.
Yeah, you should be.
You can't have a tech presentation without the tech part of this.
Correct. You guys can see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Great. Okay. So this year I'm asking for two requests. One is a continuation of last year's request to upgrade the network access points at NES, NIS, and central office, and to upgrade the network switches throughout the district. We'll start with the switch upgrade. Why do we need a switch upgrade? We have 86 total switches in the district. 5 of those support ended in 2010, so that's very bad. 49 of them will end in 2023, and we purchased 19 in 2016. They continue to have support, but with our upgraded access points, they are not giving us the wattage and thus not giving us the internet speeds that we should have. So our thought is we're going to replace set 73 switches with 54 Meraki switches that will allow the network to function with the new access points. That's that for that. Any questions on that?
So that
What's the
means you're gonna
switch?
stick with the, sorry, Howard, go. So Howard, you want to go
What's the
ahead?
switch? What's the switch thing?
This is the thing that comes from the main internet portal, and then it goes into, it's a way for us to divvy up the internet, basically. And then from the switch, it goes to an access point, goes to the phone, goes to all the things that need internet. So there's so many places along the route coming from our main internet that can fail us, and switches are one of those essential places that can fail us. So having up-to-date switches of the right kind, of the right wattage, is essential for a streamlined and effective internet.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
Stephanie, is this like the most up-to-date technology you can have to get the fastest speeds that you need at the school? I mean, plus you cover so many people, and then if you get a chance, I'd like to ask about like the LGI room, are they able to get internet in there?
Yep, they should be. Yep. I'll finish it all up and then we can talk about the most up to date, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So
I assume that the switching went along with whatever products you were using. So
yes. So like I said, we're going to replace 73 switches. So we're not the ones that are in the 2016. So we might need to replace switches a little bit down the road for those 2016 ones that will end support, but we're gonna play it a little easy now and just get the really egregious ones, like the 2010 ones are super bad. The 2023 one. So when a switch ends support, generally that means that one, obviously the company is not going to support it anymore. It also means it's not getting its security patches as well. And so we want to make sure, obviously, that our security patches are up to date as well. So basically, just like your phone, just like your computer, eventually the company says, yeah, it's too old. Get a new one. So that's where we are with some of our switches. And then, so that equipment will be $214,000. The licensing will be $28,457, and installation and professional services will be $360. So we're going to bring in our managed service provider, who I brought in last year to upgrade the internet completely. They will be in charge of putting in the switches, making sure they're labeled correctly. That's another piece of it, which is why that installation seems so high. Right now, if you were to walk into any of our closets, you would just see a mass of wires, an incomprehensible mass of wires that are all about 14 feet long. A properly done closet should have only the amount of wires it needs. We have in each of the closets old stuff that needs to be taken out. And all of these switch, so if we're looking at a 48 port switch, each switch should have a label that says this goes to this phone, this goes to this classroom, so that when the classroom goes down, we can more easily go in and say, okay, I'm just gonna switch out this one or move it over to here. Right now, it's a guessing game where it goes. So we want to sort of future-proof that, which is what the additional cost of installation is. So that's a total cost of about $603,000.
Mine says 596,603.70. Did you get like an updated one? I think I'm looking at the right one.
Oh, you know what? I did this a while ago when we were going to do it. Let me double check mine.
Okay.
Well,
Because I see professional services is
let me look.
355,000.
One moment, please.
Yeah, it looks like the date on it is July 18th, 2025, and really tiny.
The one
Yeah.
you're looking at, I thought I had updated Plum, but that was my first time working with Plum, so I might have updated it incorrectly, and I foresaw. I apologize.
Madam Chair, it
So-
might be me. The original, I shared the school list on the agenda packet of the original projects, and Stephanie updated it, so that might be me. Give me a minute to check if, Stephanie, if you want to continue on.
Yeah, because I'm looking at mine on my end is saying 602, so I'm wondering if I just didn't put it in Plum correctly for you guys, but I'll continue on while Susan checks it out.
Well, actually, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So with the labor I have 355,000, how many people are they planning to send?
They're probably going to plan to send 3 or 4.
And how quickly is that work going to be done?
That will be done during the summer.
So
They
they're gonna,
work long days when they're here.
yep.
To confirm, it is in Plum as 763.
Okay. Where is that first?
I mean, yeah, the introduction, fiscal year reference, fiscal year 2027, 763.
Yeah, I know the overall number. I'm looking at the actual quote in the supplemental document.
Right.
It's 763 for switches alone.
Oh, no, the total project request for the year. My apologies.
Yeah, no, what you have is the switches are like isn't it 84?
I think you have 603 and 157 adding up to 760.
Yes, that's what I have, Howard.
It's not what I have, is that, I have 596,
Yeah,
803.
yeah, it's the.
Well, you're looking at the right thing. You're looking at the supporting documents, Jill, which does not match the 603. You're exactly correct.
Right, so maybe she got an
It's off.
updated
7,000.
quote.
How would you like me to proceed? To,
Oh, you can go, we're just letting you know, so if maybe Sue could get that document from you and it can just be updated in our
Okay.
supplemental documents.
okay, I apologize.
All right.
I'll do that.
I just want to make sure we're all looking at the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just didn't know here on the professional services, it'd probably be good to know like how many hours they're. You think that's gonna take?
they generally don't give me that information. They just generally give me a. So
Right, they just-
cabling is 35,000. They're giving me a price of $35,000 for the cabling. And then for the switch services, 325,000. So
Yeah, that's what I
they
have on here.
they have to configure the switches, then they have to install the switches, then they have to cable the switches. So it's a considerable number of switches to be doing all that with. But sometimes the switching can happen not necessarily on the setup can happen not necessarily on island. They could do it offline once they get their remote tool onto the switch.
Mhm.
So it doesn't
Stephanie,
necessarily mean
Stephanie, is
hours
this a
on
fixed price? Is this a fixed price number or is it, see, Jill's was going down the avenue of how many hours and what if they exceed the hours is the
It's a
next
fixed
question.
price. It's a fixed price number.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Martin, do you know, like? I guess they're not gonna put in number of hours and they're not gonna put in what the labor cost is by the hour.
How would they do that?
I mean, do most of our bids get that?
We do end up knowing a lot of that, they do, there are
Maybe.
things in there when you get bids that you see what the
There's-
costs are, I'm just saying, it's, if they're doing 2 months of work and it's 4 people, just, it's, I have nothing to
breaks down.
compare this to, so maybe this is like the best price in the world for. Just, it jumps.
So would you like me to go back to them and ask for an hourly estimate of work?
Well, maybe just how many hours I guess, I mean, we're not, like, how many hours they work, I'm sure it's a lot of hours.
What's the labor per hour,
Yeah.
you know,
A little more breakdown.
cost per hour? Yes, please.
Thank you.
And Stephanie, I guess we're assuming it's a not to exceed, right? So is that right?
Yeah,
So we might want to say that in your preamble.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, can I just ask a question?
Chrissy Cupid?
Stephanie, these switches, do these fall under the frequency of updating technology, or will these switches be good for the next 10 years or 15 years?
10 years.
Okay.
Surprised it
As you
lasts
can
out.
see, we have switches that we put in as my thing, I have switches that I put in we put in 2016.
Yeah.
They're still good. They're still under support. They're just, since we're upgrading so much of the network, if we hadn't done the upgrade for the rest of the network, those switches would probably still be okay. So generally it's 10, 15 years on a switch.
All right, so investment for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I would say 10 years is a good number.
Okay. Great.
And I will ask Northeast for an estimated hourly rate on that.
Yeah, or just.
Yeah, not to sound, nitpicky, we just want it to be clear in how
Yeah.
it makes, how that
Yeah,
works in.
It just jumps out as a
Yeah.
big price, and if you're saying it lasts 10 years, then that actually is really helpful, because that factors in. So that's great.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Thank you.
good, thank
Um,
you.
We also need a access point upgrade. So last year you approved to have NHS and CPS to be upgraded. Our system now is running very, very smoothly, very robustly. We have a new access point controller in the sky that is working like a dream. Unfortunately, we moved that old access point controller to NIS and NES, which is not working still like a dream. It is continuing to be a weak point in our network. Also, because we now have essentially a brand new system and an older system, our network is currently bifurcated. So we are looking to upgrade the rest of the access points so we can have one seamless network, all operating the same with the same efficiency. And to do that, we are going to buy or hope to buy 110 917 access points and 110 licenses. And then to install those, program them, and troubleshoot would be $24,000. So we're looking at a total cost of $157,750 to do that.
Yeah, I see that one here too.
Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Any questions on that?
I got a question for you.
Sure.
With the cell phone ban, does that at all reduce the amount of traffic that's been going on at the school? Or is it
It
just like
shouldn't,
everybody's
because they
phone
were.
just still gets on the Wi-Fi and that's kind of all you know?
What'd you say?
Or does everyone's phone just still access the Wi-Fi even if they're supposed to leave it in their bag or, you know?
No, the great thing about the new system is that all teachers, anyone who wants to put their cell phone on our network, they have to apply and then they get a special code to do it. So it's not a generic password or even a password. They get a username and password.
Like individual one. It's not
yes.
like a big one that, you know, blankets 100 people or something.
Nope.
If I may, through the chair. So in other words, our students have no access through our Wi-Fi. They have to access through their own. If they were trying to cheat and access their cell phones, it would be through their network provider, their phone provider.
Yeah, but you can kind of get that at the school, not in every room, but some of the rooms, it seems like, right? I mean, when I'm at the school, I feel like I can access.
When you're at the school after hours, you're on the open after hours network, which is open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for students who don't have internet at home. That's for community school programs. That's for athletics. That's for kids coming from other schools. So that opens at 3:00.
Gotcha.
But
you got quite a system going on, Stephanie.
I can't take credit for after hours. That was there before I got here. So that is just great. The new system, though, is really great because the other point of the new system is we realized how many teachers were actually using their own laptops, which is not great for our network security. And so all of a sudden they weren't able with the new passcode to get on. So that helped us to shore up that level of security as well.
Okay, great.
And any other questions?
No, for me, it all makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. And it looks so cute. Yeah, it's such a cute presentation. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you. And truly, thank you all for your support. I mean, it's really amazing to be able to come in and make the changes that the district needs for our security and our efficiency. And it's down, to your approval. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next, do we want to talk to, Sue, should we go to Mark Willett about the track? Or
So
are
am I
we,
done? You guys done with me then?
I think that was our only item from you today, right, Sue? I'm
Yep.
just confused. I think we'd done the other items in the last meeting. And I know you all have to come back potentially for another request. Maybe in a month or so.
Madam Chair, did you have additional questions for Chip? I know originally, I think when they were first here, it was on the HVAC. I don't recall, that was a couple months ago.
Oh, Sue, you have a good memory. Oh, gosh, you do. Is he still here?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, Chip.
I,
Did you want to run us through the HVAC?
I, I'm, I wasn't sure what you were getting at, what you were looking at.
Well, we had that on here. At one point, I think it's mentioned in the building improvements.
Yes.
So that is NPS 23003. And I think we didn't talk about it, but if you want to hold off and do that at your next meeting, that's fine.
Okay, I'd rather do that if you don't mind.
Sure, Chip, that's fine. Okay. Thanks, guys.
May I ask one question?
Yeah.
Please, Beth, so I've heard rumors that there's huge dollars for capital requirements for the school for facilities coming up, and I don't notice them on the capital improvement schedule yet, and I wondered how we get a preview of what's to come so we can put everything else that people are asking for in the context of prioritizing what you guys are looking for.
There we go. Are you referring to the Capizzo Stadium?
No, I'm not. I'm the building improvements, and I heard that you need a new middle school is what I was left with.
Oh, that's, yes. I mean, we have that on there for 2033, I think. I don't know what we had put on there as a potential price. You probably do have it.
85.
Yeah, it's,
85.
yeah.
So is that besides the numbers that are spread out here, the next huge big number in the right spot for timing?
That's a good question. There's so many things that we need to look at regarding that. I would like to keep it there, but it could potentially get pushed out. We understand that planning has to happen pretty much starting next year, if that's the goal, so that we can have a clear indication. The biggest, there are two pieces to this. Number one is enrollment, and number two is regardless of enrollment, do we want to look at a more modern facility for our middle school so that they have much better access to science labs, for example, makerspace classrooms, areas that are appropriate for the type of learning that we should be sharing with all of our students, that we should be doing. And so we need another auditorium with the amount of usage that the current auditorium gets. It would be great to have an additional space in our district for things that auditoriums are used for. So those kinds of ideas. So we did put it in at 2033. If we are serious about that, then we are going to need to, the school district is going to need to start the planning right away. It's a little tricky with enrollment because we've lost quite a few students this year. We went from 1,730 and we're now at 1,660. So we're seeing a pretty significant loss, but that doesn't mean necessarily that we're going to need to do anything drastic like close a school or anything, or that it changes the fact that we still need a more modern facility. So I think it is important to keep it there for the moment, but we in the school district are going to need to make a decision within the next year or 2 years whether or not we really push this project forward with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just curious if there was any speculation about why there was such a big flux this year, and if it points to trends from your perspective.
I believe that it's primarily political, with the Hispanic population on the island feeling very much under siege, so to speak. That's the majority of our population change has been with our English learner group. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Beth, Chip, Martin, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have
Bye.
a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, I'm sorry you had to wait so long,
That's
but
okay.
you there?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, can I just tell you, like, gold star on the truck because it's an F-150, and this is one of my favorite topics. About the 150 versus the 250 versus the 350. I'm losing my mind over this discussion, but go ahead and shoot. You're getting an A this week.
No, we're actually replacing a truck from like, I think it's 17 or 18 years old. It's the
Wow.
oldest truck in our fleet, so we're at the point where Don Allen Ford has a new policy of not working on anything more than 15 years old.
Yeah, right.
And even fleet services, once it starts getting that age, I guess, part difficulty, getting parts, stuff like that. And we got an inspection sticker on it this year, but the guy said there's so much body rot that for us to get a sticker is probably gonna have to put 5 or 6 grand into the body work, so it's actually time to replace it.
All right, that sounds good. Does anybody have any questions, Mark, about it?
From Don Allen with a 98 vehicle,
Why are they servicing your 98 vehicle?
they only serviced half of it and then they sent me to Billyville, so.
Oh, okay. Christy, do you have any questions about the trucks?
Undercoating?
Undercoating? You wanna ask him if he does any undercoating on his
I
vehicle?
mean, you could ask, Mark, do you guys have a, in-house sort of maintenance schedule with all your vehicles? We're just.
We do.
Capital Committee this year is really trying to get better ideas about how vehicles are treated, how they're, how we deal with longevity and getting the maximum amount of time out of them, so.
Right, we have a maintenance built into our operation budget. We have a vehicle line, and they're
Yeah.
all maintained. We generally have the oldest trucks in all of the departments. We try to use them as much as we can. It gets to the point where we're like this, where it's body rot, no, it's not so much engine failure. I think the last two, the last one we just replaced was a 2008, and this one is a 2000 and I think it's 11. So we're getting a lot of years out of it. We do have a maintenance plan. We do undercoat when we can, not, the newest truck we have at 150 is not undercoated yet, but, talking with Norm at Nantucket Auto Body, they're willing to do that for us.
Perfect, Mark.
Mark, you have no idea.
Speaking our language, I'm here.
Well,
So much time.
for all the, for all the
None of the
salt that
rules.
gets put on the roads now, you have to have it. And salty anyway, but no, we do all of the above.
Yeah, but apparently we need an F-350 to salt the road. I mean, this is what's so crazy about.
Yeah.
Are you, so that 2011, are you replacing it, or are you keeping that vehicle and you're adding this one?
I might ask other departments if they want it. I mean, DPW has taken some of our older trucks before and done some work to them and got them back going. But it needs a lot of work. It might just be scrap heap kind of thing. But it's an older Ford Ranger. It needs work. I mean, it does run. If anybody's looking for like a beater truck, it does run. I don't know if you'll get it inspected again though.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
okay,
Mark, thank you. Thanks for waiting.
yeah.
Appreciate it. I think we're good.
Okay. Are we
Bye.
doing a PFAS thing today, or is that a separate?
Oh, I didn't know, if you're gonna stay on for that too?
Yeah,
It was just gonna be Andrew. I know Sue coordinated several different people. And we had heard from David the other day about all the sampling he's been doing, so.
okay.
We're using F-450s to do that.
Yeah. Oh my God, please. I know. David, you and Mark, major A+ this week, major. Just loved it. Okay, so if we want to jump into that, I think that we can. So we, just as a committee, we know you guys have gotten a lot of requests before. I know, water has been addressed through their own funding, of course, as that's regulated. And then Natural Resources requested money and Sewer has requested money, and we were hoping you could walk us through kind of each funding stream and the different things that they do and give us a little guidance.
Sure. So I'll start
And
with,
welcome, Andrew.
yeah, hi, everyone. Andrew Shapiro, Environmental Contamination Administrator for the town. I guess I'm gonna start with wastewater. I think that's the one I have the most information on. I feel like it's been the biggest topic of discussion at these meetings in the past.
Yep.
So I'll start very high level and then get into why and how we've spent the money. So first, why have we been sampling PFAS in the wastewater stream? So the wastewater treatment facility is what's called a passive receiver of PFAS. PFAS are in so many different consumer products that they enter the sewer stream and end up at the wastewater treatment facility. At the same time, products that go to the landfill that have PFAS in them, which is many different consumer products, the PFAS can leach out of those products and into the liner in the landfill, and that's called leachate. Leachate is then collected and sent over to the wastewater treatment facility. So we have two passive receivers, the wastewater treatment facility and the landfill, that are both receiving PFAS. Landfill leachate also goes to the wastewater treatment facility. Now, what happens to the PFAS when it enters the wastewater treatment facility? Well, some of it goes back into the ground, and Nantucket has a sole source aquifer, so protecting that is especially important. And then some of it goes back to the landfill to then continue on that PFAS cycle, where it ends up back at the wastewater treatment facility, and it's a never-ending cycle, basically. So one of the priorities for the select board is to target PFAS, and we identified the wastewater treatment facility as a place where we can remove PFAS from the environment and ultimately destroy PFAS. And so the first thing we've done is understand where is the PFAS coming from into the wastewater treatment facility. So we have been sampling the sewer system, and we've sampled the sewer system in several different places to attempt to do source identification. We have also been sampling the landfill leachate and a couple of other more minor sources like septichals. What we found is that the landfill leachate is the majority of the PFAS that goes into the wastewater treatment facility. I think our latest estimate is that it's about 56% of the total PFAS load. Now, the leachate is a low volume input into the wastewater treatment facility, but it's a very high concentration input. And so one of the things we have done is we have thought this is a good place to treat and remove PFAS, the landfill leachate. And so we did a bench scale test to assess the feasibility of that. And we found that PFAS basically readily concentrate in foams. And so if you're able to foam up the landfill leachate, you're able to collect a foam that's very PFAS rich on the top. And that reduces the volume that you have to treat. Which makes it much more economically efficient.
The foamification that he was.
That's the foamification.
Yeah.
And if you think about the waste.
Would you mind repeating that again, please?
Sure. So if you foam up any sort of liquid, it will, and it has PFAS in it, the PFAS will concentrate in a foam at the top of that media. And if you remember, we did a surface water sampling program. This is kind of a sidebar, but I'll get to the point. We sampled both the surface water and we sampled foam that we found at Sasachika Pond and Mattocket Pond. And we basically identified PFAS concentrations in the foam that were basically off the charts. And in the surface water, we found very low concentrations of PFAS. So this is a well understood phenomenon where PFAS, because of their molecular struggle, concentrate in foam. So we're using this natural process to concentrate PFAS, isolate it, remove it from the stream, and destroy it. And it's much more efficient than treating the overall wastewater stream. If you think about the sewer department, they receive millions of gallons a day. You can't just run wastewater through a filter or something like that. It's much more efficient to concentrate it, remove it, and then treat it.
So what do they do to make it foam up?
They add chemicals to it.
What chemicals?
Yeah.
Well,
Hopefully better chemicals.
and I kind of wanted to know if the liner at landfills, does that have PFAS in it too? It just seems like there's so much
Yes,
stuff,
it-
like, where's it all coming from? And we were asking Dave the other day, like, it's also in rainwater, so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a different, compound or something, like a different molecule, sorry, but
Concentration.
I think we wanted to kind
If
of
you-
understand some of that too.
If PFAS
The aeration
coming-
is the primary
okay.
generation of the foam, so. Because we aerate the entire facility across, and that's where we get most of our foam from.
Okay,
David, is that because of the weight of the PFAS relative to the weight of the rest of the liquid?
The
It's
biggest
not
thing
really-
is it,
Natural
David.
separation process then?
it is in the
David,
process
I'll-
that we do with all the aeration that we have to do.
Yeah.
We have incredible amounts of foam, especially in the summer seasons because of the fats, oils and greases in the system and everything like that. So that's the way we generate so much foam out here.
Andrew.
Yeah, I can speak to just the chemical process that goes on there. PFAS are naturally attracted to air-water interfaces. And if you have a foam, it's a lot of bubbles, which is a lot of air-water interfaces. And so
Mhm.
that's where the PFAS tend to concentrate.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So PFAS obviously comes to the landfill in many different forms. How are you foaming up non-liquid sort of product?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Well,
Well, he's doing the wastewater.
Just the leach, well, he's doing the leachate.
Just the leachate. The rest of the waste, a lot of the waste that has PFAS goes through the composter. And that's why we want to really separate the food waste from the other organics so that we can isolate the PFAS in that compostable material. And then that's just landfilled right now because there's no other way to dispose of it.
yeah, not all PFAS products are foamable, is what I was getting at. So I guess.
As a
Different
liquid, in liquid form.
Different compounds have a different propensity to foam.
Yeah.
So we find that the long chain PFAS will foam very readily. Long chain are the ones that currently we believe are the most toxic and also were the most widely used historically. Short chain PFAS foam a little bit less readily, but they still do foam up.
Is the foam composition, I'm sorry, is the foam composition primarily then PFAS and air and very little liquid? So it's essentially a solid that it turns into a solid.
It's a much smaller volume than the original waste stream.
I guess that's what I'm asking. Thanks.
Yeah.
But so to your question, so you guys are primarily taking the leachate that all the PFAS has kind of dribbled down into and then foaming that. You're not taking other solids that have P foam in.
Yeah.
You're not
I
pulling
gotcha.
P foam out of cushions and,
No.
old
Pots and
rain
pans,
jackets
yeah.
and pot and pans. You're waiting for all of it to kind of decompose down into a leachate that you then capture somewhere at the site, and then that's what you're able to foam.
That's correct.
And that's primarily like
Yeah,
a
got it.
sludge or a liquid or some sort of,
That's pretty cool.
heavily viscous material.
Yeah.
And that's.
Well,
the-
it's
tell
a
you
Bill.
what's-
This
What's
is our
that?
Bill Nye of the day conversation. Thank you.
I know.
Well, I didn't know that we were having this, but that's interesting.
It is.
Hmm.
So did you want to walk us through what you kind of spent on that and? Since we're out of cash.
Sure. So, to
And
date,
over
we've
how many
spent
years and?
about $900,000 on this, and
Okay.
that's understanding the.
That's on the phone.
This is kind of leading up to the phone,
Okay,
characterizing the inputs and then characterizing the ability to foam.
gotcha.
So we have had 3 years of influent PFAS sampling, and that's basically how we have concluded that the majority of the inflow is from the leachate. So we've been sampling to get a sense of that. We've done a bench scale analysis where we identified foam fractionation as a good candidate for PFAS removal, both identifying that the wastewater readily foams up, and 2, that the PFAS readily concentrate in the foam.
And that's $900,000.
That's about $900,000.
for that study.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then we just had a new contract approved at the select board for a pilot planning project. So
Okay.
that's the next step.
and what's that?
So that's getting a sense of how we might implement a pilot project to ultimately remove PFAS from the waste stream. And so that's going to involve looking at details like space constraints, power, water, staffing, to make sure that this is a technology that we are capable of doing. Where will it be located? And then looking at vendors as well.
Yep.
Question?
I did. Andrew, can you okay. So you get PFAS, rich areas to sort of foam up, so you have a concentration, so you can harvest it,
Yeah.
if you will. Are you harvesting the foam, or or are you breaking it down so you can better contain it? How are you actually packaging it? Like foam is odd, And so what's that next process after you've now got your foam areas? Like, what do? Just put foam in boxes, and so what's that next step?
So we haven't got there yet,
Okay.
but eventually we're gonna wanna destroy the PFAS. And so we're gonna have this foam material that is very rich in PFAS, and we're going to want to destroy it somehow.
Mhm.
And there's a variety of technologies. We haven't figured out what that's gonna be. This is after we figure out the foam fractionation aspect of it. But it's some aspect of heat and pressure, basically,
Got it.
to break down the carbon fluorine bonds, and destroy the PFAS.
And it's heat and pressure.
Essentially,
Okay.
there's a variety
Some
of
sort of-
technologies. Yeah.
Got it.
Right. Well, that's kind of where we had our discussion the other day, and I don't know if you watched that with David, but it seems like you have several vendors in mind that. And Howard was asking a lot of questions about proven technologies or, do you have any kind of guidance on that yet?
Yeah, I mean, the reason for this pilot planning is to kind of narrow down what vendors and technologies are out there. And included in this contract is also a procurement strategy. So our contractor, CDM Smith, is going to help us think through how to procure this type of technology for a pilot.
And how much was that contract for?
That's for $400,000.
Yeah.
It also includes a centrate evaluation, which we haven't even talked about centrate yet. Yeah.
Joe, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Andrew, okay, so this may be a silly question, but we have PFAS, and I think David had mentioned the other day, has to be disposed in a certain way, I guess. Once a month, or say, we have trucks come over and do a hazmat collection. Is this beyond that? Is this something that's different beyond that? If we had to remove PFAS material, is it beyond hazmat coming over and just collecting all hazmats? Or not sure yet?
Not sure yet.
Okay.
I think that's a detail that we would figure out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Safety Clean or some of the environmental companies, they've got to be getting into processing that, and if they're coming over here, maybe it is, maybe somehow that disposal ties into their
what?
visits here.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Can it do both?
Yeah.
Liza?
Do you have a way to describe the volume of PFAS that you're finding in foam, on a monthly basis, so that we have an idea of how much you're dealing with?
I can speak to the concentration in the leachate.
Okay.
We have different measures. We've sampled it, several different times, but it's on the order of 30,000 nanograms per liter. Compare that to the drinking water standard in Massachusetts, which was 20 nanograms per liter.
Sorry, so what was it?
30,000.
30,000?
Yeah.
That's the same as PPT.
That's PPT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so is that the foam or the actual leachate?
That's in the leachate.
Okay, itself. So the foam, if the leachate's 30,000, then the foam's gonna be
It's
3
even
million?
larger. Yeah.
If it's high, if you take the leachate and then foam it up to concentrate it further relative to the leachate.
Yeah,
Got
yeah, it's pretty rich.
diabolically
Material.
concentrated.
Also, go ahead.
Well, I'm,
Well, one second, how much, so I guess the better question is how much leachate is there per month? Is that where you're
Yeah.
going? Okay, sorry.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you could do the multiplication, can't you? Just, you know what the volume is and you know what the percentage is, so can't you do the math?
Well, the leachate differs based on rainy
Ma-
seasons or dry seasons. Or
It
whatever
does,
like
but
that.
she's asking a kind of a basic question. So here we are in the winter time, and we don't have a high population load, so we know what our volume of our waste stream is. So we ought to be able to multiply that by the number of particulate per liter.
I think you also learned, what I heard the other day is that you saw those concentrations really go up in like March and April when people. were
Yes,
houses,
exactly.
mm,
Right,
That's exactly
and then
right.
it really dies off about now or, over the winter. I'm not
Or-
saying it's still not, it's not good. I'm not saying it's just the volume.
Or Howard, you might be right. We're just probably not there yet at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we have
Well,
that data, I just don't have it on me right now.
Yeah, she asked a really good question because it's helpful to, Liza, to visualize it in your mind of what does this mean to me? You know, and I like that, you know, is it bigger than a baseball? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it
Yeah,
is it a toaster? Is it a football field?
Well, I don't want to punt to David, but David might know how much leachate, or
Right,
how many
yeah.
truckloads he gets per month.
It, like I said, it differs depending on how wet it's
Mhm.
been.
Yeah.
Our tanker is 5,000 gallons at a
Mhm.
trip. We're only allowed to take or receive 25,000 gallons at a time because other than that, it really messes up our process of wastewater treatment. So we've been hauling, I think, almost every day this week already because of the rain that we've had over the past month or so. But it differs. I mean, we do well over. I think the last time I checked was 2 point something million gallons a year of just
Of
leachate.
how much? 2
A little
million
over 2
gallons?
million, little over 2 million gallons a year.
Of
But we
leachate,
could have
that's-
some months, where we don't haul any leachate, and other months we're hauling every single day.
Right. Yeah.
A question just to clarify the concepts. So if it's mostly happening in the spring, is that more about the amount of rainwater that happens then? And perhaps less about what kind of substances are used around that time, David?
Yeah, it has to do with the amount of rain and or snow. That we also test that leachate stream for other metals, heavy metals and volatile metals, etc. So we kind of have an idea what the whole entire breakdown is of it. But the PFAS concentration doesn't fluctuate very much, almost year round, maybe between. It's just because some of those cells have been there for years, so you got to figure this stuff is constantly leaching all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but you see a difference in it in the wastewater stream.
right.
We see a difference in the amount that comes to us, yes.
That makes sense.
So 2 million plus gallons of leachate going to the wastewater treatment plant. That's at like a 30,000 PPT concentration. Yeah, that's a wild amount of PFAS when you consider the worst. I mean, drinking water is obviously a much of an animal, but I mean, even 100 is, you know.
And then we could then of course we dewater all of our sludge, and then we take the sludge back to the landfill, which goes back into their process, and it's just a giant vicious circle.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this is trying to figure out how to take it out of the circle
Yes,
and.
Destroy it.
yeah.
So the biggest unknown in all of this is, are we going to attempt to destroy it here on site if there's a way to do that, or does it all get taken off and how much is that factored into the cost?
That's what his
Right, this is all the
trying to
data.
figure out.
Yeah.
Like, is there new technology and they could do it here rather than spending the money to send it off? But we continue to send off hazmat materials, yeah.
You talked leachate, you talked from the landfill?
Yeah.
So over the years, we've always talked about having everything's lined. How does that come into play with, is the leachate below the liner or is it,
The leachate's above the line.
okay.
So the
what we
liner
captured.
protects
I wanna make
protect the
sure the
ground.
liner's working.
Yeah,
So to
Yeah.
answer that question a little bit better, the-
That
the-
vinyl and that probably has PFAS in it.
Well,
liners were not required by states
possible.
until, I don't know, maybe the last 20 years or so, 25 years. So some of our landfill cells are not lined and they're trying to fix that, but all of the recent ones are lined. And there's drains, like a collection system, like a gutter. So you have the water raining on the pile, the water runs down to the lining collects it, and then we need to dispose of it. We need to treat it and dispose of it, or collect it and store it.
Interesting.
Got it.
So that's how
Okay.
you capture the leachate.
Yeah, that's cool, Howard. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Curious about that.
Okay, so back to the money. So we've spent 900,000.
Yeah.
You're in total.
correct.
You're asking for the 400, you got approved, because that's already in the 2.5 million that was originally
Yes,
approved for borrowing, right?
yes.
Okay. And then beyond that, where's the other one? Was that 1.2 million?
Yeah.
Where's that been spent, or you're still haven't spent?
Hasn't been committed to anything yet.
Probably implementation, full implementation, I'd say, right?
Well, we're still in the kind of pilot planning
Yeah.
Yeah.
process. And David, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a capital request for the actual pilot later down the road, probably in a couple years.
Yeah, it was discussed in length at this committee the other day, but it's definitely going to be pushed out for sure. So.
When you guys
But
are-
you
when
still
you-
have money
We
to
still have
borrow
money.
for,
Yeah.
for these
agreed.
projects.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we want to understand,
Yeah.
like, do you have what you need now? And, because this does sound exciting if it's something that you can treat here, and if you could treat all our hazardous materials while you're at it, maybe you could.
Yeah.
That'd be like, awesome.
Well, right now, hazardous materials like that are treated with very, very high temperature incineration.
Well,
And,
that's what he just said, they're gonna use electrolysis, I think.
Yeah,
That's one of the-
pyrolysis. Electrolysis
one-
is hair removal, pyrolysis is high temperature incineration. Just so you know.
I know, well, maybe we could use some of the people on island to do hair
So,
removal.
is it a good time for
He
me to
said
ask
that
a
was
few
one of the,
questions?
that is one of the technologies, Howard. That's what
Yeah.
David said.
It is, and there are no commercial pyrolysis machines commercially in operation in Europe or the Western world at commercial levels with inconsistent waste streams. So, and I continue to ask my buddies in the industry whether there is. I have a bunch of questions, like maybe I can't count them. May I do that now?
Yeah.
Are you guys all done?
Yeah, good timing.
Waiting for.
So,
Howard.
so you're using the word pilot, and I'm thinking pilot might be a misnomer. And what you might be saying is that CDM is actually going to help you to look at what the aeration options are commercially available and to spec one that's right for us. Would that be correct?
Well, right now, we're in the pilot planning process, but eventually we're gonna do a pilot study where we bring a technology on site and we make sure that it does what it's supposed to do.
Right. So you're actually speccing what you think you're going to need, based on what you found in your testing.
Correct.
Okay, so you're really scoping out a project right now.
Yes.
Okay, you're not building a pilot plant, you're scoping what is, and then you're going to go out in the marketplace and see what commercially available technologies are available for you.
Correct.
Right. That's also not a pilot plant in my mind because that's a proven technology. Yes?
When you say pilot, you just say it's to Nantucket. I mean, you've done this, this is
Yeah.
this is tried and tested processes. Is
Well,
that right?
They're new to the market. Other municipalities have
you
implemented.
go.
Engaged.
Yeah,
I think that would help us if you could send us some of that information,
Sure.
what other
Yeah.
municipalities have done. Because what Dave mentioned the other day was about shipping all this stuff to Ohio and everywhere else to send
Right.
it, it was becoming a problem, so I think that. I
Yeah.
think we'd like to know a little bit more about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Because it
seems to
sounds like
me
Big
that
ask.
you're actually, it's not like the next technology of pyrolysis or whatever Dave proposed to us before, which is unproven technology that's not approved by the state of, by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There are options for you to employ as you pick the right one that have been reviewed and approved by the Commonwealth. That's a question.
Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Is there
Yeah,
any, sorry, Howard, we couldn't
Go
hear you.
ahead. Thank you. Oh, you're going to be looking at commercially available options that can be deployed here based on the sampling that you've done, which already have received or will receive the Commonwealth's DEP approval.
Yeah, I don't know what the DEP approval process looks like for those types of technologies.
Are there DEP approved technologies for this?
I don't know that.
So are you suggesting that we're going to go out and spend money on a speculative technology that no one else is using? Because I don't think that's what you said before.
Well, the purpose of the pilot is to make sure that it does what we suspect it's supposed to do.
But so this is a novel technology that's not commercially proven and not implemented or deployed anywhere else in the state, in the Commonwealth.
I have to look if it's in Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts is very limited on any PFAS stuff that we're one of the communities that have done more testing than any other place in the state.
Yeah, and you've got your sampling data, right? I mean, so you kind of know what you need and what's been identified and what to target. Now you're looking for a technology.
So we'll be able to, take care of that
eliminate.
stream.
To Howard's point, and I understand what he's getting at. And, not that we're not all in favor of this, but labeling it either a program, a pilot or a program. Because I think that the town and the community are on board either way. So is there a component to the whole process from the very beginning stages until destroying the hazmat either here or off island that is pilot, that is really still in the phase of like experiment?
This seems like pre-pilot.
Like, is there some part of this whole thing that is pilot? If not, to Howard's point, this should be more of a program.
Well, Howard's saying the word he used was scoping, I guess. Isn't that what I heard you say, Howard?
You did. You see, we have in this town so many capital requirements. I don't mean to diminish what you're doing at all and the need for it, because it's so important to everyone in our world to be able to deal with these PFAS. It just doesn't seem that in the context of the capital needs that we have of an island, that we should be a research laboratory or a testing lab. We should be buying pieces of equipment like Ford F-150s that work, not to buy equipment that we think might work and to test it out and see if it does work. That doesn't seem to me the business of a municipality.
Well, see, Nantucket is completely unique than anywhere else.
It is. You said that. Yes.
We cannot we can't just load it in a tanker truck and haul it off island.
Right.
It doesn't
Hey,
work.
Brian Turbot has his hand up, so Brian, I'm not checking the screen that much. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I haven't had it up long, Madam Chair.
I'm not ignoring you. Our fine CFO.
I know. I just wanted to follow up because this whole concept of a pilot started a long time ago. Okay. I think it actually even started with Hazen and Sawyer at one point. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but and I know CDM Smith is kind of working on this now, but I wanted to, Howard, to answer your question. I mean, the pilot was always meant to be a small scale test of some technology before a full scale implementation. So I think that's why we've always called it a pilot, because it was to put out something for technologies that are available with CDM Smith's help, David, Mark, and Andrew's guidance, follow a path on a particular method and do what I had always understood it to be was a small scale test of that before a full scale implementation. So that's, I think, why this has always been called a pilot. And that's always the way this proposal and this project had been kind of laid out. Just to try to give some clarity, because since we've been working on it for a little while.
Yeah. So Brian, does that mean with the money for you're calling the pilot, that that still could be several technologies that you're trying. It's not
It
just
could
something
be,
on paper. I mean, you're physically gonna try these
we're
technologies.
physically going to have it. And one of the reasons, one of the things that we need to be also clear about is that if we pilot something, okay, and we make a determination that it works, the way that these would have been written would have been given us the option to purchase it at the end of the pilot if it actually did what it said it was going to do, and the studies revealed that it was worth a full-scale implementation. So a lot of this also is focused on that end result. We would need that appropriation in hand, at least at a minimum, by the time the pilot was done. So I think that's part of the reason why the money's being asked for as well. So I just wanted to give you a little clarity, Howard, on how we came to use the word pilot for this.
Okay, well, Brian, do you have any concerns about them looking for technologies that maybe
No.
aren't licensed by
No.
Mass DEP? Okay.
No,
I
I
just-
mean, I think that,
Yeah.
I'm not well enough versed in PFAS, but I think that we've done a lot of work on it, and I think we're a little bit farther ahead than most of the places. So,
Yeah.
we're looking at technologies that may be emerging or developing, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I would defer to Andrew and his expertise on that. I would not try to supplant mine for that in any way, but I'm not. I don't think that I have a major concern with it.
Okay, so with that does sound like you said, Andrew, you had some other municipalities you could send us information for.
I can look
It
into
sounds
that.
like we ought to find out what other places are doing too, in conjunction with it. Sounds really interesting, actually.
Yeah, I'll add two quick things. One is that we have not started the pilot yet. We're in the pilot
You
planning
just got
process.
approved for that.
Yeah, which was approved at the select board a couple weeks ago. So if you want to call that scoping, sure. And then two, a pilot's always smart just because of the unique wastewater chemistry of any facility.
Carolyn?
Just more of a process comment in our process right here. Howard, you were saying, your opinion is the capital program committee shouldn't be supporting something that is in essence experimental, whereas I hear David Gray and Brian Turbot and Andrew saying, in fact, Nantucket, because we're an island and because we're already ahead of things.
And high levels.
Yeah, and the high levels, that in point of fact, we are already experimenting. And I hear it as more of a trial. I mean, pilot, yes, it's a pilot too, but it's a trial, and we're fortunate because we can try out different types of technologies. And so we will be the proving ground. And if it works, we will see that it works. But Howard, that's kind of going across in your experience in the business world and your technology experience about this stuff. It sounds like we will be anomalous to what you're talking about. And are you comfortable with that?
I love the idea that of the innovation, but innovation of this scale, of this type, whether it's proxy or not, to me, doesn't belong to municipalities. Belongs to private industry to do this, or to states that do it for their towns. So my question is to Brian, why is it that you believe it's appropriate for us to be spending limited capital availability on speculation?
Because I think we have a little bit different view on it, Howard. I think that if it's in the wastewater, that we have a response, we should be treating it and removing it. So I think that is where I'm coming from in saying this. And we've been talking about doing some type of pilot for more than 2 or 3 years at a minimum anyway. So I believe that if we have it in the wastewater, that we should be removing it. And I think that Andrew may or may not agree with me, but I think that David has taken that tack that we should be removing it. And so that's why I support it.
We all believe that we should be removing it. Me personally, do not believe that we should be the innovator here, because once we get the technology, once we spend money and more money on the technology to perfect it, then it has to go through a whole certification process at the state level and at the EPA level before I believe it will be able to be deployed on a commercial level. So that's a question for CDM, who's totally capable. They're super people in this area. I mean, you certainly got the right engineer, but in my experience, but Brian, I hear the need and I understand and I totally appreciate why it's important. It's just, I think a school is much more important than this because the school's not proven. I think that other things that we need to do as a community, I think the DPW building's better than this.
I think there is an urgency to it though, because, you know, Nantucket does have a PFAS problem. And then this ultimately affects landfill operations as well, given that our sludge goes over to the landfill and ultimately affects the space and what can be disposed of at the landfill.
Right.
Nobody's diminishing the need for this. We all appreciate the urgency of this. The question is not the urgency. The question is, why should we be paying for it?
Howard, I got a question. I'm just trying to get your train of thought. So I understand the responsibility, as you say, with private, it would be great for them to carry that burden financially. But what about as far as the town of Nantucket being a public entity? I mean, you're in charge of the island, you know, public sources as far as just protecting the island and its resources.
Well,
why do you think that the public entity should not bear some of that responsibility?
But by the way, this is my personal opinion,
Yeah.
based on my experience. So I don't want to sound like that this is factual.
No.
But I think this is really an important issue. I think that the urgency is there. It's a small island and it makes it even more isolated and intense. The fact of the matter is we are not a laboratory. We are not a university or an industrial laboratory that is creating commercial applications of science.
I think what Howard said the other day, and maybe you could speak to this, Andrew, which was valid, is that it's not something that the state is telling you you have to do, right? And there are no regulations for it yet. Yeah, I'm not saying we're not gonna get them because we certainly got them on drinking water and rightly so.
Yeah.
It sounds like we might, but since we don't have those, maybe that's his concern about doing it right now, or, you know, and maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
Sure, it's not required. That's absolutely right. There's no regulation that requires us to do this, but addressing PFAS townwide is a stated priority for town administration and the select board.
Yeah.
And so this is one way that we have identified that we can address that priority.
Yeah. And you guys are going about it the right way. And I applaud you. I mean, you're smart people and everything you've said is correct. And I applaud you for doing it. I'm just questioning spending that money. That's all.
The other issue is, and I think I brought it up the other day, is our discharge permit expires in another year.
Yes.
And we will have PFAS requirements in our discharge permit. We've already been told that. We don't know what the limits are going to be or what the requirements are going to be, but we know it's coming within another year.
But we have no idea what they are.
No, not yet. I don't think the state and the feds or anyone have come up with what's the number. They could make it the exact same thing as drinking water. Now that's going to be a big issue to try to meet without having some kind of removal.
That's what I'm trying to understand, David. Wouldn't they give you a technology so that you could meet there?
Right.
Or have some approved technology or method or?
Exactly.
Every state's
They don't
different.
give you unfunded mandates. That's like.
They can't require you to do something that there's nothing that can actually help you to accomplish that goal.
Caroline?
Could you, what Howard just said, could you spell out the implications for that and what would it mean if in the year it expires and how does that affect your pilot program?
Yeah, that's something we have identified as something we need to think through in the pilot planning stage, like what those levels might be and how that makes us pivot and think about this project.
Right.
But is there some advantage to doing it before that happens? Some particular advantage or disadvantage of waiting till after?
I mean, if the permit expires in a year, you know, we're gonna be finishing up the pilot planning project around that same time. You know, we won't have started the pilot at that point. And we certainly will not have selected a final technology at that point.
Right, but you'll know what's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. This was helpful. I don't know
Yeah,
if Mark or
thank you.
David want to add anything else into this, but we know that there are more requests coming, so it's good for us. I know.
I would like to say one thing. I applaud you guys for what you're doing. I'm a science person and a technology person, and I've looked at investing in this, and what you're doing is just amazing for a municipality to do it. There's no question about it. It's just the simple question of should we be spending money on it? But you guys are doing a terrific job, and I don't mean to denigrate you at all.
I got an idea for you, Howard. I think that we should look at these technologies and then write up an invoice and send it to the state and see if they'll pay for it.
I think it's called a grant, and that is available. That's a good idea.
We
I
think
asked
eventually the states will be handing out a lot of funding for PFAS
They
technologies.
sure will. They
Right.
sure
Good.
will.
So,
Caroline?
but are there grants right now that would be helpful? If it's, because if, to Christie's point, it's either gonna come from taxes or the capital program committee, or it's gonna come from grants, or somebody is going to make a gift to supplement something like this. Those are the 4 possible ways that I can see this being funded.
Yeah, no, I'm not aware of a grant for this technology at the moment.
David, you're not, that's because David.
No,
you mentioned-
it's, yeah, currently there isn't because so many different states are doing, they have so many different levels. I mean, Maine is probably closer to some proven technologies than Massachusetts. And I know Andrew and I have both presented at numerous shows across the country, Chicago and everywhere else, that about what we're doing. And then we probably get caught in the hallways afterwards and talk for another hour or so because people want to know why we're testing, what made us test, and what we're looking to do to destroy PFAS. So I at some point this DEP or EPA or someone's going to say, hey, we have $20 million for someone to
They will.
do some PFAS destruction. And right now with the testing that we have, we're a lot farther ahead than most communities.
Right, so we'd be in a good place to receive that kind of money.
Or
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Or a
Madam Chair.
donation.
Oh, yeah, Brian,
One
go
thing,
ahead.
yeah, to Howard's point and to the question about grants and everything, David will recall this, probably about when we first went down this road of even considering it, there was a company called 374 that was in the business of this potential of what we were looking to do. And that potential pilot, which didn't get executed or undertaken at the time because it was still so new on our side, would have had them provide this small scale system to the sewer treatment to the town for a period of 2 years for the pilot with an option to purchase it at the end. So we would have had 2 years of no cost. So there are, I think, still opportunities like that available. It's not direct grant money, but it may be a situation where we don't have to pay for the equipment and everything during the pilot. And if it works and it works to a set of metrics or standards, then we would be able to purchase it at the end. So there are other ways to do this because that was an opportunity a while ago.
Language, Brian.
And what?
You're talking Howard's language now, I think. That
Well, I know, but
And that's what we've done before. That's the right way to do it, and I was just looking up 374 and I'm not seeing that they have technologies that are employed, but I have only read it very quickly. I think they may still be in the research phase, but I can't speak to that. But this is typically done with just what you said, Brian. It's developers of technology like 374 who come in and we don't pay for it. But we have the right to buy it at the end of it. So we don't have the money at risk. And that's the way this should be done exactly.
The one thing that we were going to have to fund if we had gone forward was we had to do the mobilization to get the equipment here, but other than that, there was no cost. That was the biggest thing because of the island.
You mean the $900,000 was spent just on taking the samples off? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking if we had a pilot system, we would have to pay for the mobilization for that.
Oh, yeah.
Not the equipment initially.
You know what? That would be when I've negotiated deals like that, that's a reasonable basis for a discussion. on the town or the location paying the premium to get the stuff there.
Andrew, thank you. I know that your time was a little.
Yeah.
You had another meeting. didn't you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
for
Yeah,
that.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Yeah, nice. It sounds like interesting work.
It's pretty cool, right? Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, you have a PhD.
I'm a professional engineer.
What?
I'm a professional engineer.
Oh. Okay, guys,
Right.
onward. I think, Brian, did you want to talk to us about freeze? And I think that's the last item on the agenda today.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks,
David,
guys.
Thank you, David.
One second, Madam Chair, I have to log into it to kind of highlight something that we
Okay.
noticed when we were using the new Rory system.
While you're doing that, I'm reading a headline here. 374 Water commences contract with State of North Carolina for aqueous film forming destruction. That's great.
Okay, so one of the things that we've run into, and I think it's artificially deflating some of the Rory rankings with the changes that you made, Madam Chair, and to members of the committee.
Yeah.
Is under the cost section.
Okay.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth one down, which is
Just know, Brian, that we don't have that in
They
our,
can't-
we can't see it the way you can on your software. I'm looking at it through the spreadsheet that we did, so.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm gonna
That's
just
why
let
we
you.
address legal, then I'm just saying if it's not in the order that we did it.
No, it is. It's in the cost criterion. Okay. It's
Would you like me to share the screen?
yeah.
Yes.
Why don't you do that
Yeah.
and I can walk
Brian,
through,
is there a
'cause-
particular
fine.
one you'd like me to
We
bring
did
up?
prioritization, we did qualitative, and then we did
in
cost.
cost. Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't matter. So it's not.
Okay, give me 1 minute.
That's fine.
I have it up. Give me a second. to-
There's just one in the cost section that I think is a little quirky.
Okay.
Chair,
Okay.
and we ran into this when we were doing it.
Yep.
So,
It should
can
be
you
up
see-
for
yeah,
everyone.
can you scroll down?
Yep,
Okay, so this one here where it says were the funds approved for the funds approved for previous fiscal year used in full. Okay. So if funds were approved in a prior fiscal year and were used in full, presumably, I don't want to speak for the committee, but presumably that is 100%, right? If it's the money was allocated and it was fully spent. Okay. If it's a new project and has had no funds, it gets a 0, which artificially diminishes the final ranking of this because of the way that you're looking at it and the way that it's being weighted. Because if like, let's just say Mark has a new truck. Let's just use water company for a second. Okay. And he has never had that before. Everybody's going to score were the funds approved as 0 because there were no funds approved before. So it's a new,
Okay,
and
well,
that's when you get.
can I explain to you what that's supposed to mean? I think that is more about, that I think is more targeting the repeated requests. And if they have unused borrowing.
But you have to put something in there for every single Rory ranking.
Put
And
100.
if it has none, so if it never had anything, I think you have to put 100.
Brian's
Otherwise-
right about the arithmetic here. It's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think that description isn't kind of what we were getting at, but.
No, and I agree with what you were getting at there. I think that unfortunately, when we were talking about it, we didn't, I don't think we kind of thought it through. And then when we get into our Rory's, we're putting them all 0. And then I realized that if it's a new project, like all the vehicles, they get 0 and it doesn't reflect accurately the bottom line score is so, I guess what I would suggest is I'll leave this to you, Madam Chair, and your committee, but we ranked everything that was a new project as a 0. So I think in order to not skew your median versus our comparisons for rankings, that I would suggest that you consider doing it the same way that we had done it to try not to get too far of a deviation from each other if possible. Because I think
Everything should get a 0 if it's new.
yeah, so if it's new, you keep it as 0. And then if it had money, and then you could use whatever parameter you wanted based on how much had been spent in the prior year, I guess.
Yeah.
If
I mean, they're
it,
not
so like,
100, they're not 20 things that have money from the previous year necessarily. Not the way it, like there's some kind of newer asks in the last 3 or 4 years, and that's just the state in there. Right? That sometimes
yeah,
you
no, and I agree
budget,
with
and that's
you.
fine.
The problem
But-
is that a zero at 3.64 is it can have a market difference on whether it hits the median or doesn't hit the median. Is I
Yeah.
think where the concern was when we were doing it. That's I just wanted to bring it to your attention, Madam Chair. That's all.
Yeah, but here's another question about it, because it's not just unused borrowing as well. When I look at it, it's, sometimes the requests were like, gosh, how many years is this gonna take you to spend? Right? And so that's another consideration, which is fine. I mean, some projects take a really long time, especially the big debt exclusions. But
Right.
You're kind of asked, it's like the way I'm thinking about it is, can you actually spend this money in this prescribed timeline? But we have the question before.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's kind of I don't know, we could also ditch this one if you want
Yeah,
to.
well, I mean, it's too late to take it off.
Yeah, it's too late to ditch it at this point.
You ditch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great question for this forum, to be honest, because I don't like questions that you either are, it's not like a yes or no.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
unfortunately, this is a yes or no question,
yeah.
and it's just, it does, I can see the issue with it.
So should we just
And
put
I
a zero?
think, Jill, this is critical information that we like to hear from department heads. But I think that's when we're talking to them about it and we
Yeah.
take note. And if it was, town-wide where these were like 90% of but it's few and far between when you have this come up, like cobblestones and sidewalks and stuff like that.
This was the question that made us redo the breweries.
What was?
This particular
unused
question.
Well, no, we never really had this question on there.
Well, we did want some reflection that they still had money to borrow left over, but that's okay, because each year you're asking for it to be new again, essentially, so. I think. So you want us to just put 0 in there for all of them for this go
Yeah,
around?
so Madam Chair, I want to make sure I don't think neither Sue or I questioning the validity of the question or the rationale behind it, because I don't necessarily disagree with why you thought it was appropriate, and I tend to agree with you. I would ask that you would consider this year, if it was a new project never before done, to remain consistent with the way we did it because of the way we were looking at it, and we put 0 in there. Okay.
Mhm.
If it had money and had been spent, then we put 100%. Okay. But like I said, as we got about halfway through it, we realized how that was impacting some of the scoring, but we continued to do it the same way to remain consistent with the ones that we had done before we realized what was kind of happening with that particular question and the way it had to be answered.
Jill?
Well, so wait, can I just add?
Yeah.
On that, Brian?
Yeah.
So here's perfect example. Each year that we're asked for the coastal resiliency money, right? It's about $1 million a year. And I don't know that they actually spend the full $1 million every year, or maybe it's 900, maybe it's 400, maybe it's $1.1 million. I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm wondering how we address.
So what we can do is, if it would please the Capcom, Madam Chair, is we could put together a list of, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is really driven at the annual appropriation requests, like sidewalks, cobblestones, things of that nature, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So Sue and I could work together, and we could put together a list of what the annual appropriation ones are and how much they have left from the total appropriation, so that, or at least give you a guideline of where they're at, so that you could properly answer that question in a way that makes sense to you.
Sue's had to chase up a lot of these questions, so that's been super helpful, but that would be great the things that we knew were more repetitive, we could just see if there's some money left over. And the PFAS actually was a good example of that too, because they still have money left over from their previous authorization. Christie?
Brian, can I make a recommendation? Or Joe?
Open to anything.
All right, I mean, why? I feel like we should just zero it out for every request and not worry about it, because you're gonna answer. Let's see here.
Well, he already
What-
did his, and so he's gonna suggest that we do it the way they did it, so it is thrown out.
It's now you're,
But if we all
you
do it
have,
the same,
you
it's a
have
zero.
one, yeah, but you have, I don't know, I think you have, 4 components, to, a request, and then you're judging 5 components or questions to another request. I just think it's just off to me. I think you should I think everything should be zeroed out on that, and we just forget it.
I know, but that's why he said you gotta put in either 0 or 100 for the ones he did, for the repetitive ones. Is that how you did it, Brian?
Well, I mean, I think you guys can, I just suggested that as a way to try not get too much deviation from the medians on both of them, because as you remember, once you're done, we download your group ranking and then we create the median there, and then you ask for our GRORI score for these and the median, and we try to see how far they deviated from each other as well. And so I'm just concerned about altering the scoring and whether it will create, it may not create a substantial deviation from each other, but it was just something that we noticed that we thought you should be aware of when you were doing this. But I can tell you that we scored every project that did not have money allocated in a prior year as a 0. And if it had money and had been fully spent, we put it as 100.
And what was the percent of that, Brian? 5%?
Off the top of my head, Christy, I don't know.
Okay.
We've done these projects over the last few days to talk to the town manager with, so
Right.
I'm still swimming in all of them and getting through them, right?
Well,
I know, I
it's
can't
a
wait
good-
till you eliminate some of them so we don't have to rank
Yeah,
them. I
no,
hope that you had to
I-
rank them all
I
and we
think
did
it's a-
about 20% less.
It's a good find. Yeah, no, it's a good find, Brian. I just feel like with, scoring, a small percent of the projects that have funds approved each year is a small number, and I think I still can't get over the fact that there's still some skew somewhere. So anyway, that's my thought.
Can I
Pete?
Yeah, so I guess my comment is, if we're zeroing out any new requests, which is a majority of the requests, and the annual recurring, you're getting somewhere between 0 and 100. Annual recurring requests are automatically getting some amount of points more than new requests. So that's the biggest issue for me, in my perspective, and if you can't change it, so be it. But if I were you guys going through this, I would have scored everything new 100. Recurring that's had everything spent in previous years 100, and anything recurring that was not fully spent less than 100, because in reality, we're trying to ding those recurring requests that haven't spent all their previous money.
Right.
Is
And
that
I
all,
think
is that all accurate? Makes sense?
it does make sense, and I
Yeah.
think we got
Right.
probably at least halfway through it before we realized it, or maybe even a little bit farther through it than we
And
realized it.
there's no way for you guys to change all of your 0s for new requests to 100s at this point.
Well, I would suggest to you that we could consider it, but since we've already gone through this with the town manager and Sue's gonna be hitting what she has said to go forward and not go forward, to go back and change it may
Brian.
actually alter those decisions.
On your end, so we'll have a consistently.
You see what I'm saying? I mean,
Set as opposed to.
Sue, can Sue go into our Rory and just set it, so it's already just a set it and forget it, and we don't have to answer that question? And just
we
set
can't
it
go
in.
into your, no, we can't.
It would have to be individually, and you're talking, what, 60 to 80 projects? So, yeah, I would
Okay.
have to manually do that.
And
Well, we could ask, but I don't think we can manually
I
set
didn't
it.
know Plum could just do it in ours, is what I was saying.
I know it's the smallest singularly impacting line item of all 15 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're all comfortable knowing that all new requests are gonna be disproportionately dinged just
Yeah.
because we're trying to create this plug. Like, we're all okay with that? We think it's an
Okay with that. I
immaterial
mean,
amount.
Just.
We also have create redundancy and overlap above in prioritization, and quite frankly, it could be adjusted through that. But we'd have to explain that more.
Peter, you saying we skewed it in the wrong direction?
I'm just saying we skewed it against new requests versus recurring requests.
Yeah.
Right, because if you did it,
Because they got
You're getting
zeros instead of
something.
hundreds. They got
Right.
hundreds, then it would have been fine. They got zeros, so they're automatically. And it's a small amount, 3.65 looks like the lowest one on there, so it's probably gonna be immaterial in the end. And to Brian's point, at this point, probably most important that we at least make it consistent with theirs. And hopefully there's nothing that we vote out based on that small deviation by scoring some new requests here.
But if we.
Yeah.
We're subjective humans and we will take it into consideration.
But if we
For our scoring.
But if we just zeroed everything out, wouldn't we just make that number smaller?
But then we're deviating from what they did.
it's because they already did.
They
it.
already
They
did
did
that.
everything at zero.
To theirs.
So why don't we just score it? Everyone can score them at 0 out of 100 and
I
then,
hate to have them do the work to get that.
Zero out.
to us, and it's just. Anyway, gotta do it, I guess, yeah,
no, it was good they did it because then they identified there was a problem.
yeah.
It just took a long time. for
Well,
the
it's, I
company
guess
to
the
get-
bummer is the inflexibility to alter it.
It's never happened with the old Rories.
What?
I'm kidding.
Oh, that we've never had a
I
problem.
will tell you that the new ones generated a lot of discussion internally, so if this was meant to be thought provoking, it definitely was. I will tell you that.
We did it in hopes of the people that come past us,
Right.
the future
Understand it.
committees so it just could be a little bit more. We didn't like yes or no answers.
Mhm.
As Christy was saying earlier, we didn't. And we still have some of those, but for the most part, I think we thought.
A little
needed to.
easier to grasp what these ones are getting at.
Yeah. Good. Well, sorry, we know that's a lot of work for you, Brian.
No,
I'm
we just thought it was important enough for you to be aware of it after we had gone through it, that's all.
Yeah.
It's a good find.
Some new requests are getting a 0 and recurring requests are getting something between 100 and 0. Essentially, right?
Yes,
Thank you, Brian.
you're welcome. That was it. Thank you for
Okay,
the
thanks.
time, Madam Chair.
Thanks for staying on.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Guys, I think we're kind of it on the request. We have to wait for the school to come back. And Sue, am I right? Are we through
I believe,
everybody now?
give me one chance to double check.
Anything new pop up and then maybe some things are gonna roll
Right,
off.
what rolls off and then I guess
There-
that, so-
Yeah, so there will be some rolling off. I will try to get those out to you guys within the next week. And housing will be coming on December 4th to address the additional questions. And they have a truck request as well. But other than that, I don't know of any other thing new. So yes, we have gotten through all the departments.
Does anybody have anyone else that they want to come back? Cause if they can come back December 4th, that would be a good day, or whenever the school comes back.
Well, I was reflecting on, I counted up 6 different requests on Brant Point alone. I mean, different parts of the requests, and as I was.
Relating to Brand Point?
Yeah.
So you said?
Yeah, just it seemed, I don't know if it's coincidental, it seemed like maybe it was, and so as I was trying to go through all my impressions, I began to have some questions about how they were related. The last presentation we had, I think the last meeting, there was some comments about that the playground people had been talking to the parking people. But I think.
The stormwater.
Yes, but since I'm on the Brant Point Association board, I'm just trying to get my head around what all those different things are, since I have more of a neighborhood interest in it. So I'm planning to follow up and I'll make some calls and ask some questions, but I sort of feel like that's an unusual number in one area, and I know some of it has to do with the stormwater and.
Big time, yeah.
So that obviously makes sense.
It's a popular spot, Caroline.
Yes.
Well,
We've gotta make sure it's got good
uh,
access to
yeah.
everybody.
So-
Yeah. It's an
Yeah.
important spot for
But,
them.
but just bringing up that there are so many different groups doing stuff, and I guess I'm interested in the efficiency of that, and did we have a chance to ask questions about it, but I can pick up the phone and
Who other
ask
than,
questions. We
So there's a
had,
rain garden,
who are DP and stormwater?
stormwater, there's a playground going in from Parks and Rec.
yeah,
But this is all by, at Jetties, right?
no, there was
No,
children's
that-
beach.
Triangle.
Children's Beach sewer pump, then there's
Stormwater,
the drain at Jetties, there's the playground, there's the rain garden
Which is now just a
in the triangle,
drainage.
which is also drainage.
They got rid of the rain garden.
Oh, he pulled that?
That's what I was, but yeah, I think so.
That is correct.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
been
okay,
moved.
he did, sorry, we had that long response, I thought he pulled the air quality monitor.
I didn't hear they pulled the rain garden, but.
Where-
The rain, so the rain garden was a decision, when we met with town admin to go over the rankings and the medians. So that was yesterday. We moved it out to FY 28.
All right, so that's getting moved out, and we think,
The Jetties playground replacement is being moved out to FY 28 as well.
There's a field done.
okay, well, that's 6 down to 4 for you.
the parking
There are
lot is
more.
subject to the consultant, right? That's
I'm
doing
sorry?
all the parking studies, so there's nothing in the immediate pipeline for that.
The parking lot?
To
He's doing the
reorient
drain.
the drainage, but reorienting that whole parking area is one of the parking lots that the consultant is working on, and in addition to the town lot downtown, 2FG.
Well, but there are two different parts of the parking lot with two different issues. One had the puddling and then one
Which is
was.
the drain that she's
Yeah,
talking about, yeah,
And then the other one was trying to make it more efficient.
right, which is what the consultant's working on.
Yes, and then that involved the playground
But
and
that didn't really involve the playground so much, right? I mean, that's a separate effort.
I thought it was the same exact location. The new,
When you say
Well-
location, you mean Jetties?
no, they were moving the playground from where it is now over to.
He's
right around-
adding a playground. What I heard him say, he's keeping the existing playground. He's adding another playground.
And it's not gonna
Because
be,
eventually he is worried. He's thinking ahead, I think, and he's worried that someone is gonna ask them ultimately to take it out of the dunes, that he's gonna run into a problem, but for now, I think.
and, well, yeah, and I think the issues of permitting the park, appropriate playground in the dunes right now isn't feasible. But it's also not gonna be in the parking lot, it's gonna be in like the grassy area next to that shed
Yeah,
where there's currently no parking.
Well, it's right next to.
Next to, yes, but not in the parking lot.
Right.
Got it. So yeah, so I never got the impression that the consultant that's working on all the parking reconfiguration is working on the playground. I thought playground was strictly Parks and Rec, and they know where their site is, and then they,
Yes, I just
Yeah.
was curious about some of the coordinated efforts.
yeah,
and
we did mention it
efficiency.
the other day too.
Gotcha.
We just.
Like
said,
drop
do
off,
you know
pick
that
up,
they're
how
doing a
far away it
playground
is.
over there maybe.
Do we have to put big chain link fences because it is so close to the parking lot, or the other one now doesn't need that, things like.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, so just to clarify, Sue, what was the update on the,
Well, Sue, do you wanna just give us a list about what you all are kind of
next.
pulling back from? Do you wanna run through that now,
Yeah.
or do you wanna just
Oh,
email us?
I do not have, I will have to send you the list. It's still,
Okay.
it was a long meeting yesterday and I'm still trying to get everything organized. I would
Yeah,
like
I know
to,
it's all real new information, so.
if it's
Oh,
okay
nice.
to mention, Madam Chair, we are planning to update the select board at the December 3rd meeting of the recommended projects.
Great,
So in
Oh.
case you would like to join the meeting.
yeah,
You-
everybody should make sure to watch that meeting at least, if not attend.
Jill, you had Sue send us a full list of all the requests
But now
in
we're
one
gonna get it
document.
different.
So
Yeah.
can she update that document and resend it?
I will,
Yes.
yes.
Okay,
It
great.
may be a little bit, it might be,
Yeah, that's fine.
Next few
That's fine.
days.
That's fine. But that'd be.
Okay, and so on December 4th, Sue, that's our next meeting.
correct.
Should we take a little time and we can all go through one of these Rorys together? I mean, listen, this is how I view Rorys, and the reason I think we changed it, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating everything we talked about in this break, but you don't have to look at that question the way I look at that question. And
Correct.
so I really want you guys to get that out of your head if you think that we're supposed to all, what Brian's issue is different, because that is a really specific question. But you you can interpret those things the way you're supposed to interpret it. And I think that's the beauty of the process.
That's why there's a range,
Yeah.
you know?
And as long as you interpret them consistently throughout, like, you don't change the way you look at it just to try to, you know, just to try to like
Yeah,
support one and not support another. And I know that there's no way to, you know.
yeah,
What did we do
sure.
last year?
Sure,
Did we do on the tens or quarters for scoring?
I personally never was of the mind that it mattered as long as, again, you're doing it consistently, but to say that everyone has to do it on fives or the tens or the quarters, to me, I don't think it impacts the actual,
I never did that. I just did that. I did 5s or 10s.
I think I did the quarters personally. Always
I
have.
think I did quarters too. I think it was.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially. Like quarter.
25, 50.
Yeah, 25,
Yeah,
75, 100, you know.
So we're talking about when you're rating each one, you get the percent between 0 and 100,
Okay.
you
And
know.
you can do 72.1 if you would.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
We had just for the sake of, I don't know, continuity, I guess, we were trying to figure.
Yeah.
If we all.
Well, poor Brian and Sue, they've been through a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what they-
dealing with this.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
just so the committee is aware, on the Rorys, it has to be in increments of 5, is the way it's set up.
Oh,
Right, so nothing, yeah, gotcha.
so no
So
0.1.
25, 50, 75
No.
worked.
Yeah.
Interesting, that would be a requirement on there.
yeah, so quarters would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sue, did we cover everything? Next meeting, December 4th at 2. Again, if you guys have any questions or whatever, somebody did just email who wanted to speak up in favor of one of the natural resources projects, so I could ask them to send a letter or tell them they could get on a public comment for the next meeting, if you want to.
That's
know.
me, yeah.
What was that? December 4th, somebody wants to speak up in favor of one of the natural resources projects. And yeah, the school, well, again, we just won't know about that date for a little bit, but hopefully soon. Anything else?
Nope, it's good.
Sue, thank you. I know I've been bombarding you with questions because I still am looking for the answer, especially on one of the requests. For the coastal resiliency request, I think.
Yeah, I followed up, haven't heard back yet.
Okay, that I do feel like we should know that information before we score that one. Because like we just had Andrew here and he went through exactly what money he spent and what he has and so I don't know if Leah would like to do that, but she's welcome to do that. If she wants to come on the 4th.
Okay, I'll reach out to them.
Okay, yeah, or you know, if Jeff wants to do it instead.
Leah would be.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, when are we looking to have our Rorys scored by? Like before the 4th? Or
I
not
don't,
before that?
well,
Not all of
we
them.
could
but-
ask, do you, I usually like to hear everything before I score.
Okay.
Everything,
So-
you guys can do it when you want, but I think you can start score, you can't score them now. Cause I just pulled mine up and it's
No,
not,
you can't, it's not an option. You don't have that.
Access in there yet?
not with the new questions.
Yeah, got it.
So Sue, do you know when that would be?
We just met with Liddy yesterday morning. I'm going through the list now, moving out what needs to move out. Then I will have to move them all to Capcom review. And once that is done, then you will all be able to see them.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just look for an
Hopefully
email from
before
you, Sue. Don't-
Thanksgiving.
That's fine.
Hopefully,
We're just a little
email it.
delayed on some of these things
Yes.
this year, partially because of software and I think STM and
No rush on my part. I was just making sure I wasn't
yeah,
missing anything.
delinquent.
Yes.
yeah.
Either way till somebody tells me to end.
Till select board until January.
Yeah.
I think last year I did the end of January. I feel like that's when that happened and so I think we're okay, but.
We're great.
We can always call Sue if we need help.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Sue, sorry.
Thank you, Sue.
Oh, that's
Motion
okay.
to-
We'll call Brian.
Motion adjourned?
Yeah, call Brian.
So moved.
Second. Pete,
I
Liza, Christie,
Aye.
Caroline, Howard, he's gone.
see Howard.
Jill's and I. Sayonara, people. Good work.
Happy Thanksgiving. Or happy